Guys, we really need to have a conversation about Mercedes, because of what on earth has happened to this team. Wait. Before we do that, one thing real quick. We did it. We reached 1,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much for watching, for subscribing, for sticking around. It kind of goes without saying that I couldn't have done any of this without you, so thank you all so much. But anyway, the inspiration to make this video kind of stems from a couple of TikToks I saw of a F1 TikToker, Luke Howick. He does TikToks covering like F1 news and stuff like that to do with F1, but he did a couple on some things to do with Mercedes and their performance, or well, slightly lack thereof. And he dropped a comment on one of them saying that the Mercedes fall off needs to be studied. I'm not so much studying it, rather as just speaking about it, because he is not wrong. This needs to be spoken about. So cheers for the idea, Luke. Go follow him on TikTok, by the way. I'll drop a link to it in the description. So Mercedes, the team that dominated from 2014 to 2021, the team who at first launched and rocked up to the pre-season, whatever they called it, at Barcelona with the W13 with side pods, before then rocking up to the official pre-season test in Bahrain with the W13 we all remember. Remember? What? I'm pretty sure what happened there is I was trying to say remember and mind at the same time, and it did not work. Before then rocking up to the official pre-season test in Bahrain with the W13 we all remember, the one with no side pods. And it was not at all what Mercedes would have been hoping it was. And it surely was not fast, as George Russell commented it looked in Drive to Survive. Sure, they scored several podium finishes, they got pole in Hungary, and had not only a race win in Brazil, but a 1-2 finish, and sure, they also managed to, thanks to them being consistent, and the aforementioned 1-2, and Ferrari effing up managed to keep the pressure on the Maranello team for second in the Constructors right to the last race, even if they fell short in the end in 2022. But the W13, that zero pod concept, wasn't it. But they kept with it for 2023, and that was not the right move, which was evidently clear at the very first race weekend and was pretty much stated as much by Toto Wolff. And they brought back the side pods partway through the season with a concept change, and while again they were consistent and they managed to get second barely, and I'll be honest, they got a little lucky with that penalty for Checo in the final race of the season, but that's my opinion of it. But however, like the W13, Mercedes will not want to remember the W14. Now we come to the W15, which was yet another concept change for Mercedes, but it hasn't exactly been working out so far brilliantly. It's not been terrible, and it isn't what Mercedes would have been hoping for. In both the races run so far, the Mercedes pair finished 40 to 50 seconds or so off runaway winner Max Verstappen, and around 20 to 30 seconds off Sainz and Leclerc respectively, i.e. the highest non-finishing Red Bull driver in each race so far. After the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Toto Wolff did make some comments on the W15's performance, and he said that essentially what they're seeing on track doesn't line up with what their simulator is telling them. He said, "I can see for the sensors that we have what we needed, but there's still this behavior of the car in a certain speed range that the sensors in the simulation say this is where we should have the downforce and we're not having it." Now, I'm gonna be honest. I am not an expert. However, I'm fairly certain that you rather want your simulator and on track to correlate in terms of what it's saying in terms of performance and downforce and stuff like that. It's kind of helpful if that correlates with each other. But Wolff has also commented that there's still something that they're yet to find to try and unlock with this car's full potential. Something which they've been trying to find for the last couple of years. And I'm gonna be honest, whatever Mercedes are trying to find, it's proving more difficult to find than Wally. Or Waldo, if you're American. George Russell also spoke about the performance after the Saudi GP, and he commented that over the course of the race weekend, it isn't so much their competitors getting quicker and them not being able to keep up, because the Mercedes have started weekends not so bad in practice. They have been pretty good in practice, but it's rather as if that Mercedes are dropping performance, which, you know, that's not the most ideal thing in the world to do over a race weekend. Naturally, you'll want to be trying to find performance and moving forward with it, because if you're doing anything else other than that, then you're just going backwards, okay? The high speed is where they've been losing, and where they were losing in Saudi, according to Hamilton, who said they were miles off in the high speed corners. He said it felt like a completely different category. But quite frankly, I'd argue that we have a few different categories on this 2024 Formula 1 grid. There's Formula Verstappen, then there's Formula 1, then there's Formula 1.5. But despite Mercedes having made big changes to the car ahead of this season, Hamilton says that they've definitely got to make some big changes, saying, if you look at the 3 teams ahead of us, they still have different concepts to where we are in some areas. So we've got some performance to add, that's for sure. I'm gonna be honest. Looking at Mercedes right now and looking at Ferrari, I think Hamilton's maybe has made the correct decision to go the way of Ferrari. Although mind you, I am a Ferrari fan. Now I will admit I am a little surprised Mercedes haven't managed to fend their feet yet in this regulation set, but I suppose part of that could come down to the budget cap and them not being able to just chuck money at the problem until it goes away, if you get what I mean. And that was one of the points of the budget cap, to stop the big teams from just chucking endless money at their teams while the smaller guys kind of do that and are kind of struggling to catch up to them. Mercedes have work to do to try and catch up with Ferrari, who are second quickest. Not that they're a million miles off the Italian team or anything like that, but Ferrari are still second quickest at the moment. I feel they still need to try and finally unlock the true performance of their car, of their team in this regulation set. Some may suggest that Mercedes are facing problems new because they don't hit a dominant engine anymore like they did 10 years ago now, or you may suggest it's due to them just not getting the aero right or something like this yet in this ground effect era, which, well, that may be part of it. Yeah, it would make sense. But at the end of the day, Mercedes will surely pull themselves out of this hole they've been in the last 2 years eventually. Whether that's throughout this season and into the next season, or if it isn't until the new regulation change in 2026. Or, well, they'll be pushing for it and aiming for it. And as McLaren showed last year, all it can take to really improve things is one big upgrade. That's all it can take, and you can really improve your performances and your position. But at the end of the day, it could always be worse for Mercedes. They could be Alpine. Seriously, Alpine fans, how are you guys right now? What do you think of Mercedes right now? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you again for 1,000 subscribers. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.